What's happening, everyone? I hope you're all having a wonderful trading week so far. Now, as we always do, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on that post notification button to get notified whenever I post a new video. Now, in terms of today, okay, we are Tuesday, 2nd of July. We do have CPI data coming out for the euro. We've also got Fed Chair Powell speaking later on today and Jolt openings. So there's of course some high impact news for the euro and high impact news for the dollar. Let's start things off with the DXY as usual. Now, looking at the dollar from daily perspective, in terms of the swift turnaround we've had yesterday was expected. Okay, yesterday I did tell you guys that look, yes, we were pushing down lower. However, we've come back into this daily area where price can definitely reverse and turn around from to target these two equal highs here on the daily. And as you can see, this is a very strong bullish looking doji candle. So ideally, we should see this continue to rally for at least the rest of today. Okay, now looking from the 4 hour and the 1 hour perspective, okay, we can see that we've had a rally, we had a slight dip, okay, pre-London session open, then we've had the continuation to the upside. So ideally, I do want to just see this continue. Really, I don't really want to see it, give us any slowdown. We may get a slight pullback. Okay, test this candle here, this 7 a.m. candle, test that candle and maybe potentially give us a bit of a push to the upside, but I don't think that's what's gonna happen. If it happens, then of course, we know what to look out for. Even on the half-hour time frame, you can work inside these two half-hour candles to look for a re-entry for the long. Now, the main reason why I say this is because this half-hour candle here, where price tested previously, where we dropped drastically, okay, has in fact held and given us, well, price hasn't held really, it's pushed through majority of the candle. Okay, so with that being said, there's more potential for price to actually head higher than there is for price to head down lower and potentially beat these lows. Now, even when we look at yesterday's price action, we had London session, we had a pullback, we had a continuation to the upside. We had some high impact news come out around 3 p.m. yesterday. Let me just double check what it was. Yeah, we had the manufacturing PMI data and also ISM manufacturing PMI data. We saw a spike down. You can see we played into this half-hour candle, and we had a very strong rejection off of the back of that. So, looking at it from a price action perspective and what's most probable to happen, there's a higher probability of price actually continuing from looking at yesterday's price action than there is for price to return all the way back down to these levels. Okay, because it doesn't make sense for price to give all this price action and push away from the area if it's not going to attack those daily lows to the left here. Okay, so we didn't actually take out this area, we've left it behind, so that's fine. Now that we've rallied off of the data, the evidence that we've seen here, there should be, we should ideally see price head higher. Okay, so that's my take on the DXY. Now let's take a look at Euro USD. So Euro USD, we do have some data coming out for the euro in about an hour's time, or let's just say 50 minutes, right? So for Euro USD, let's start things off with the daily time frame. Let's take a look at yesterday's daily candle. Okay, as you can see, it's a little bit similar to the dollar as EU usually is. Okay, however, the one thing I would say is we've actually had a break on the daily time frame. Let me just double check because sometimes these candles don't print properly. So I'm going to check another provider. So I've got FXCM up here. I'm going to quickly look at Owanda and see if it's printing me the same picture. Okay, so Owanda is also printing the same picture with the exact same gap. Okay, perfect, that's fine. So on the daily perspective, we have actually printed higher, okay, due to the market open gap. We've printed higher, we broke above the previous lower high, so ideally we should get a pullback and a continuation to the upside. That's what's potentially on the cards for Euro USD from a structural perspective, okay? Now, obviously, we've had a look at the dollar from the daily perspective. It is still bullish. So, the dollar is the Mac Daddy. The dollar is the main player in the market. So, if the dollar is going to go up, everything else is usually weak. Okay. Of course, different asset classes will change in terms of strengths. So, usually on a day where the dollar is strong, the most other currencies are weak. Usually when the euro is strong, the pound is usually weak. vice versa, etc., etc. Usually, when the crypto market is booming, the FX market, the currency market is usually quiet. Okay, so the money is usually in some sort of asset. If gold is strong, then usually, the crypto market might be strong, and the dollar should be weak. Okay, so turn our attention over to Euro USD. We've had a very shallow pullback towards the end of yesterday's Asia session. Okay, we've kind of just continued lower, really. I was expecting to see, or wanting to see, price actually take out yesterday's Asia session high before we actually had this move to the downside. Okay, but this does look good to continue dropping. We might get a slight pullback once again, but ideally, I do want to see this keep dropping. And even if, right, let's just say price does push up off of the daily structure, right, and we get out the fib tool, right, so we have gotten to about 50% of this bullish fib retracement. Okay, so in terms of areas, price could definitely head down to the 71% area before potentially giving us a push to the upside, but that's highly unlikely. If it does happen, I would definitely be very surprised. All right, next up, let's have a look at cable, aka GBP USD. So with GU, guys, I told you guys that GU has returned yesterday. I told you that GU has in fact returned to previous areas where it shorted from, and I gave you two areas. The main area was on the daily time frame. We can still hold inside this exact same area and give us a sell move to the downside. The second area was this 1 hour area. Okay, so the daily area was fine into this 1 hour area where prices rejected from previously, and this is where we of course saw the news wake up and start dropping off from. And the second area, okay, was this 4 hour candle area here, which has been left unmitigated, so price could have definitely gone up there, but we haven't seen those prices as of yet. So in terms of that, looking at GBP USD from the hourly perspective, we can also get a pullback and a potential continuation to the downside. Okay, we are yet to actually take out Thursday's low, so that is still on the cards. Okay, now if we look to the 4 hour, of course we've got a massive bit of imbalance sitting to the left of over here on the daily perspective, but on the 4 hour you can see that we've got this nice 4 hour down candle, so that can definitely, it does look like a very good area to target as a take profit. And even when we look at where price is there's about 60 pip range from where we currently are to that 4 hour area. So with a potential 20 pip stop, you can go for 40 pips. You don't have to go for the full range. You can go for a 1 to 2 R&R and secure some profits that way. All right, so next up is going to be on gold. All right, so gold has been, a bit wishy-washy as of late. Really this week and majority of last week. Even though last week we did have, quite some large ranges, it's been a bit wishy-washy. Now, ideally, I kind of turn myself or bring my attention back down to the fib swing perspective. Okay, and from the 4 hour, since we of course rejected, we broke that high low, broke this high low, we broke this high low. We've turned bearish, we've pulled back, we've made a new low. Now from this lower high to this lower low, we're yet to actually create a lower low for gold. So shorter or lower prices are still warranted, and it is still a potential to occur, right? Now, looking at this from a Fibonacci perspective, obviously we had the the sniper entry at 78% retracement there. We shorted down quite drastically. We've pulled all the way back up. Okay, we've hit 50% a couple of times, rejected off of it. Now price is kind of chilling. Now we can definitely head up higher. Okay, maybe potentially back up to 71. Look at 62% retracement before looking for another short. Okay, now ideally anticipating what the dollar is doing and seeing what the potential for gold strength are currently in the market, it's a bit of a 50-50. Okay, because gold does not always necessarily have to follow what the dollar is doing. Okay, it does majority of the time, but there will be periods of time where gold may do its own thing. Okay, now at the moment I wouldn't be surprised if we actually push above the highs of the consolidation that we've recently been making. Okay, I would not be surprised, right? If we can push above these highs, these most recent highs, I think that is when gold may be ready to potentially short and target all this area beneath here, and also take out all the liquidity it's been accumulating and taking out ever so slightly down here. Okay, so those are the two options I'm kind of looking at. Even though this morning we did have a drop to the downside, which made it look like we were going to head down lower. However, it hasn't been sustained. Okay, is perfectly fine. Now, ideally, of course, we want to see what the news release and how it's going to affect gold and affect the dollar, and we can kind of work off there. We may also get a short in and around this level here. You know, we've already had a push to the downside come pre-London and London open. Okay, we've had that short down there already. Price could definitely be testing to then go again. Gold does that sometimes, so I'll definitely pay attention and see if the lower time frame starts to show you some signatures of lower prices. Last but not least, as we always do, we're going to go through Bitcoin. Bitcoin does look very likely to come down off of the 4 hour time frame. Of course, if we are looking for stronger dollar, we've played into this 4 hour imbalance here. We're holding it quite well. We've had a bit of a dip to the downside. It's really interesting, Bitcoin, because technically it's not the greatest picture known to man, but lower prices in terms of short term looks highly probable. Okay, so if you are a Bitcoin trader or investor, well, if you are a Bitcoin trader, you can definitely look to capture some of this down move on Bitcoin. Is it going to break this low? I cannot say for certain if Bitcoin is going to break the low of 56,500 level. I can't really say that for the time being, but the technicals are there. In terms of showing us and pointing us to lower prices, it is possible. Okay, now we could definitely be in a pullback phase to, of course, head down lower for Bitcoin. Off of the 1 hour, the main thing that's really capturing my eye, my attention in terms of price action is this kind of test of this 1 hour candle here. Right, we've had that test of that 1 hour candle, and we've had quite a few hours of consecutively bearish down candles. We could potentially get another pullback for a test and then a continuation to the downside. That's when things can start to look a little bit slippery for Bitcoin. But other than that, thank you guys for listening. It's been your boy JD Trades. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And also, don't forget, I have a Telegram channel. The link to the Telegram channel is in the description box down below, where I post a lot of setups, a lot of trades, and also a lot of other content. With that being said, always remember the theory behind the practice, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.